Here we go.
Working now?
Everything is on board.
Okay.
Still kind of think I want to change that.
The song?
Yeah, I don't even know if I want the song. I'm just not feeling it.
I mean, how many times have you listened to it now?
That's true. I guess I didn't think about it that way. Everybody's like, no, fucking leave it. I love it. I'm like, I'm not feeling it anymore.
Yeah, that's probably wise because you hear it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Very fucking true. Well, the last time we talked, it got fucked up and I didn't get to keep your episode.
That's okay.
So, I think we talked a little bit about everything that you've kind of been going through. You've been moving. Now you're all settled now.
Yes.
Well, settled for the most part.
Yeah.
Got things swimmingly moving along.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a good thing.
Yeah, everything's been going really well actually recently. So.
And you live super close.
Yep.
So.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, I gotta readjust.
You're good.
Everything's all fucking different because I haven't been in here. Well, I had this whole thing planned out in my head earlier, and I fucking lost track of everything. So I'm trying to remember what I was going to talk about. I know we've in the last couple episodes we've kind of not finished up, but we've talked about some of your story and
Yeah.
and where we were pretty much caught up, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit more curious to now to kind of see your points of view on some of the other stuff that we like to dabble in.
Okay.
Like I said in the last couple ones, you have a very interesting mindset for somebody so young. You're super old inside, and I don't understand it, but we're gonna push on that because I'm excited to hear your input. You're gonna shock the world for somebody that's turning 21 this weekend.
Yes, I am.
And that's gonna be fun too. We got a big weekend planned.
I know.
So you're not driving.
Nope. Nope. No, I am not.
You are in the arms of all of us.
Yeah. I'm your guys' responsibility.
That's okay. But I'm excited to hear, after this episode, you're going to kind of get the grip of what happens in here for the rest of the episodes.
All right.
And I'm excited about it. I've had a lot of weird directions that I want to take this. Not this episode, but the whole thing in general. Like, I've been really wanting to ramp it up quite a bit.
Okay.
I want to start talking about... I'm gonna get a little bit heavier here soon, and hopefully I'm gonna have some different guests on that can give me really, really different perspectives on life. One of the things that I fucking hate doing, especially for like work, is I have to drive through reservations quite often.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever done that, but
yeah.
that shit, like, not to get too like sappy or weird, but like the energy that I feel there,
it's different.
It's fucking sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to do it the other day for a container, and it's just like this fucking... I was talking to somebody from work, and they were like, well, yeah, they do it to themselves. And I'm like, but do they? And I was like, dude, you know what it feels like to me? It's like, it feels like generation on generation of fucking just a building depression.
I agree. Every time I've ever been through one, it's like my chest feels heavy, something, like it just doesn't feel right.
I'm like, they've given up everything without choice.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I'm not going to dabble too much into that without having somebody to talk to about that. But this is one of the things I want to talk about.
Okay.
I want to talk about all the different cultures. I'm going to talk to a lot of different walks of life. It's going to be exciting.
That will be exciting.
It's going to be different. But I want to. I got a lot of cool stuff lined up from guys that have done quite a bit of prison time.
Mm-hmm.
Also really cool. Have you seen that movie Shot Caller?
No, I have not.
You should watch it.
Okay. What's it on?
Prime.
Okay.
Amazon Prime Video.
All
no,
right.
I'm not sponsored. It's about a normal white-collar dude who is living a seemingly normal life and ends up going to prison for, like, a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out as somebody who's a shot caller and, like, Aryan Brotherhood kind of stuff.
Okay.
So his life is now a world apart from what it was. Weirdly enough, I actually got in touch with the guy who that story was written about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, super excited to talk to him as well.
Ooh.
Got some big things planned. Some big moves I gotta make happen.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
And exciting.
I've been wanting to talk about this for so long. So, it's gonna get exciting. I'm gonna try and get back to what we were gonna talk about.
Okay.
This is something that I've always found super difficult, and I don't really. It's just like I don't know how to approach it without having a way to know how to approach it. It's just like anything. You don't know how to do something that you don't know how to do. But when people talk about how you have to push through these struggles and you have to deal with your whatever mental situation is going on, you just have to deal with it. You have to push through it. You're like, how do you do that? I can't figure out a way to do it without putting it out there so that way somebody can fucking show me some guiding light.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, nobody should have to go through something like that alone, because that's where, suicide comes in, because then you don't have anybody.
Right.
You feel like you are alone. Like, and that's why, like, a lot of us, not a lot of us, but that's why us as people try to reach out when we are going through things like that, or we try to do things to keep our minds off of things. I mean, that's what I do a lot. When I get, like, down like that and, like, like, just my mental, like, I try to do things that I enjoy and stuff like that. I've actually came along as saying, I've been going to church every Sunday recently.
Really?
Yeah, and they always talk about it's okay to not be okay. But the issue is to act. It's not okay to act like you're okay.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
And that's something that I've been really, like, looking back on recently, that I'm just like, that's kind of like, in a way, it has changed my perspective on some things. And I'm just like, okay, like, it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to be mentally not okay in there. So
I'm going to shift gears on you here, because this is something else that has been brought up quite a bit outside of any of my own desire.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people reference to the show, and they reference back to how often specifically men's mental health comes into play. And if you disagree, by all means, fucking just say it. It's fine. That's what we're here to do, is we're here to talk about shit.
Yeah.
But when you say, part of dealing with that is putting yourself out there and reaching out. My rebuttal to that is, who?
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't talk to a lot of people about stuff like that.
And this is one of the biggest topics when it comes down to dealing with mental health, and then highlighting men's mental health is we don't necessarily have that option.
It's also a pride thing.
See?
And it's not, I'm not saying that it's in women too.
Yeah.
Like, we all have a certain type of pride that we just don't want to drop sometimes. It's asking for help. That's an issue too. Like, a big issue. Like, I don't like asking for help when I'm struggling with a lot of different things. I don't. When I'm going through patches in my life, I just don't like to ask for help. And I don't know if it's a pride thing. I'm pretty sure it is a pride thing, but it's...
I would say we can connect that most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely 9 times out of 10 is when something goes wrong. I myself have just dealt with so much on my own that when it comes down to it, I'm like, I'll just fucking handle it.
You'll figure it out on your own.
I'll fucking handle it. That's like my mind's motto, is I'll fucking handle it. And it's not a good thing.
No, that's mine too. That is mine too.
It's probably not a good thing.
Recently, I've been trying to get out of it, and I've been trying to step down a little bit more off of myself, and just like, okay, I do need help, and this is what I need help with.
Right.
May not say it all, but certain things I'm just like, this is what I need help with.
Well, one of the big things that we try to promote here is baby steps.
Yeah.
Progress is progress. Doesn't matter how big the step is. If you're making progress for yourself, then that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Every single time, every single day, move forward one step further is better than nothing.
That is true.
What the fuck? I'm gonna have to look this up, but there's I'm obsessed with this band I Prevail.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fucking obsessed. And one of their songs called Deep End. Mm-hmm. In the very beginning, it's only the first section. It's not even part of the chorus, but one of the lyrics gets me every fucking time. I'm like, God damn it, preach. And I'm gonna end up having to
look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. You know what? We're gonna Google instead of play it because I don't want to get in trouble. But
it's a good song, though.
It's such a great song. That is not I Prevail. Just so we're clear, I was like, that's not them. No. This is taking a lot longer than it needs to.
That is okay.
So in the very beginning, you know the song Deep End, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So in the very beginning, this is the only section of the song that says it. If you had it all, would it be enough? Can you find your way and still be lost? Which fucking hits me harder than it fucking should, because there's been so many points in my life where, you finally think that you've got something figured out, and then it's like, why? For what? Nothing feels right.
Either something else jumps in the way, or it's the same thing that unfolds even more.
Right. But what you were just saying was, I write songs about being someone else that say fuck the world, but not I need help. And the first time I heard that, I was like, holy shit. Like, that is fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody just turns and points to the world instead of saying, I need help. And again, it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not even like one to talk really, because I don't honestly feel like, even over the last few years, like I haven't really not directly addressed anything that I know of. I mean, do I feel better than I was? Yeah, but have I like directly tackled anything that I can see? No, but maybe this is where baby steps comes into play.
Yeah.
If you're constantly making those baby steps, then you're not going to see the big tidal wave. But
me and somebody had a conversation the other day, and we were just talking about how, like, you think that, like, you have it all figured out, you have your shit together. Mm-hmm. But in reality, I don't think anybody has their shit together at the end of the day. And like, we got into a long conversation about it. Like, we both had the same feelings about it, and we both think that nobody has their shit together at the end of the day. No matter how much as they want to say that they do, but everybody has problems and issues that they have to go through,
I believe that in my head. I do. But then it still surprises me when I find out that somebody who looks like they're doing great on the outside, when I find out that they have shit. Mm-hmm. It still fucking surprises me. I'm like, oh, wow, they are one of us.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, I know when I preach about it, too, which is even fucking more wild. I'm like, everybody has their own set of problems.
Yeah.
But then it's just not, it doesn't settle until I see it.
Yep, because you think that they're perfect all around, and then you see what is inside, and then you're like, oh, okay.
I'm super skeptical, too.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother fucking set of problems. But if somebody tells me one thing, then I typically am just like, okay. If they wanted me to know more about something, then they would tell me.
They would say something, yeah.
Which is never true. But that's me being stubborn right there.
I mean, like, yes and no. Sometimes people don't want somebody to know. I was like that for a long time. Mm-hmm. I was just like, yeah, this is what happened. Like, I would either bluntly say it, or I'd be like, oh, like, beat around the bush just a little bit, just so they don't know everything. I'm just like, and I would leave it. I wouldn't say anything.
Right. And one of the things that I feel like would probably gauge what you wanted to let people know is you probably wanted to protect what was left of your legacy after all the shit that you've been through.
Yeah.
You've seen three or four aspects of hell and back
Yeah.
at such a young age that you're probably like,
I didn't. It's also a thing of asking like for help too. Like I didn't want to ask for help or go to somebody and like put that on them, that type of stuff on them. That's why I thought this was like a good idea, because I was like, oh, it's not just on one person. It's on a couple other people too. You know, who listen to it. They know me or they don't know me. Whatever. Like doesn't matter. But now it's just like it's not just on one person. Like that I have to sit there and I'm like, oh, here you go. And that's the biggest thing I think also is for me, because I don't want to feel like a burden or feel like I'm just a problem after problem after problem person and things like that. Like, I guess it is a pride thing. Like, I don't want somebody to, like, look at me in that way either. I also don't want sympathy. That's another thing.
Big thing for me, too. Not a huge fan of it for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't like... If I'm expressing something I'm going through, like you said, to one person, I sure as fuck don't want all that attention on me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, you could probably always boil it back down to my pride. Yeah. But I don't know.
There's probably more to it too.
I'm sure there is. I just don't know what. You know, it's such a weird thing to say out loud.
It's scared too. It's being scared of people knowing, and that's another big thing. Is like I was scared. I was like, I also don't want to be looked at differently. And that's another thing. I don't genuinely want people to sit there and be like, oh, you've been through that or this and that. Like, yeah, I've been through that. I already know that I have. I'm the one that, like, lived through it.
Yeah, I was there. Thank you.
And it's, I don't know. I don't also believe in the word, like, from most people, especially people that I don't know or people that don't show change, I don't believe in the words, I'm sorry. If you say I'm sorry, I believe that you genuinely either need to show me that you're sorry or that you need to change in some type of way, you know. And then I might believe you.
That's a big thing for me too.
Another thing is I don't believe I'm sorry coming from somebody. And I've heard that a lot, especially from a couple of close friends. I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't believe you because nothing's changing. And that's like also like, I don't know. I guess with the asking for help thing or like being, I guess it's like I'm not around people that I 100% trust. I've asked for help from couple people this year, and they haven't let me down. And those people are still in my life. But the people that I have asked or I have said stuff to, that I've kind of like, hey, like kind of need help, and they're not there for me, I basically booted them out of my life. So, I've been very like, okay, I see who you are and who, you know. And like, we both know when somebody asks you for help, you're there for the most part, unless you absolutely can't do it, but you're there.
I try to be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruffle some feathers saying this, but there's not really a whole lot of people I feel, like you said, that I could be 110% do and say what I want around and feel confident about it.
I don't either, because most of the time it's gonna turn around and bite me right back in the ass.
Usually at some point I end up hearing about it, and it's like, I mean, I've learned, and that's a good and bad thing, because now I understand who I can be around.
Yeah, who you can tell things to people and who you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the trying to be there as much as I can, yeah, I try to. It's so cliche, but I try to give the response that I would like if I needed it, and I try to make sure I always keep myself in check for that, because it gets thrown around so often. You know, well, every time I ask them for help, they're not there, and every time they ask for my help, I'm there, and I try to make sure that that's really something I keep on track of. Yeah. Regardless of the person. You know, I would want somebody to be there for me if I ask for help. So I just try to make sure that I keep my karma in good graces.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of just like, I mean, I use that word a lot. Well, that saying a lot. I ask for help and I'm right, or people ask for my help and I'm right there. But it's the truth though. And to me, it's the truth. Like I've seen it a lot especially within this past year. of where I've needed help or somebody else has needed help and I've been right there. But as soon as I needed help, that person's no longer, they disappear.
Yeah.
They're no longer there. And I've kind of just sat back and I'm just like, okay.
Testing those waters is a painful process.
And I've stopped helping though.
Yeah.
I've kind of just take a step back, but a part of me, then I feel guilty for not helping. I feel guilty for knowing that they needed help and I wasn't there. And things like that.
That's something that's fucking crazy. And I had a fucking exact moment of what I'm describing today is you can almost feel in different scenarios where it's like when somebody asks for your help enough times and maybe you haven't responded, whether it's big or small, whatever, and you're like, okay, I should probably take care of this time since I've been pretty neglectful. You can almost like feel like, okay, now it's my time to step up. I should do this because this may not be, or this might be the end of this relationship if I fucking don't.
Yeah.
And it happened at work today, and I watched it unfold just the way I thought it was going to. It was something petty. It wasn't a big thing, but somebody was doing stuff. They were moving stuff around at work, and they were like, hey, would a couple of you guys mind helping us do this? And one of the guys that was fucking around with us went over and helped, and I did not. And I thought about it. I was like, fuck, I really should have fucking gone and helped. And then after, like I know that the guys that asked were like, fucker.
Yeah.
You know, God damn it. Like, we needed your help. And it was never spoken about, but it's one of those things that you can feel. And I don't like that people choose to ignore that. You know, if something means a lot to you like that, and if you can feel it, then I think you need to step up to the plate more for yourself.
Yeah.
So.
And I struggle with that. I struggle with stepping up to people and telling them how I feel. I struggle a lot with that, and I struggle with letting the toxic people stay in my life and letting them walk all over me. I'll admit it, like I struggle with it a lot because I feel bad. Like in some part of me in a way feels bad for those type of people. And I don't know what it is, even if they drag me down or if they say things about me or if they're talking bad behind my back and then I hear it from others. I'm just like, well, I believe that you're actually saying that. Like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, no, you're lying. I believe it because you wouldn't be coming up to me and telling me this. Then that's how I view most things, because why would somebody just come up to you and be like, hey, this is what this person's saying about you.
Right.
I don't really believe that. Like, most of the time when people do that, I don't think that they're lying. And I have a lot of people in my life that are just like that.
It's definitely something to be fucking thought about, because you're like, really, is that the truth? Well, why would I waste my time coming up with this?
Exactly.
You know, why would I be telling you some random bullshit that I thought of just to upset you?
Exactly.
And that's definitely a fucking thing. Yeah, it's so difficult because even in those moments, like you said, I still want to, step up and
help, be
the bigger person. One of the biggest things that I had a problem with for the longest time, I wouldn't say problem. It's like, I don't want to say like explaining yourself, because that's not what I'm doing, but one of the things that I currently do, and I've been training myself to do, is when shit like that happens, I usually bring it up, not necessarily in a controversial way, but like, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna figure out if this is true.
Yeah. So you ask that person. I
typically bring it up in some way, Yeah. To make sure that where I'm going with it is correct, and it doesn't have to be angry. Yeah. But I'm gonna bring it up. Yeah. Because I need to know, where I stand. And it doesn't mean that we're not gonna be friends after the fact. It just means that I'm gonna know. Yeah. I'm gonna know a little bit more about who you are.
Yeah, and what you're saying about me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Definitely talking about shit has been, it's hard to do, and it's hard to do with people that are, you use the word toxic, we could use that word. It's hard to do with people that want to be in that fucking space, because when you call people out, what do? They get defensive. Yep. And it's automatically this shit show right off the bat. I
mean, I don't know. I've also thought about like defensive things, like that word. I don't know. Because I get defensive with things, but I'm not sitting there and lying or denying it. I get defensive. I guess in a way I would say maybe hostile. Like, I get upset because I'm just like, it's not that I'm being, I don't know. Maybe I just don't like to hear it.
I would say I haven't known you for very long, but one thing that I will say that I'm pretty confident is I bet that I could probably ask you just about anything in a conversation format,
Yeah.
and you'd be able to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So it's not fair for you to say about yourself that you get hostile.
Yeah.
Because you really have to take into account how that shit comes to you.
Yeah.
Because if somebody comes to me, fucking, you want to start some shit immediately, I'll fucking burn it down too.
Yeah, because people are like, why are you getting defensive? I'm like, I'm not getting defensive, but why is this even a,
People can fucking have a little bit of respect when they word shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's not fucking hard to do. Hey man, I heard through the grapevine, you were talking about doing this and this, and I just wanted to ask you, if you could let me know before you fucking do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not in a shitty position.
Yeah. That's not a bad way.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, dude, I heard you were talking shit. So before you fucking make a mistake, let me know. Now I'm pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Okay.
And the way people approach shit like that, it doesn't always need to be fucking hot and heavy. It doesn't need to you don't need to come in guns blazing.
Yeah.
You can have a conversation.
And I think another thing is that most people text.
That's a problem.
And you can't read people's languages through text. Nobody sits here and talks most of the time anymore face to face.
Right.
And a lot of my texts get misinterpreted or however you say the word. I think I messed that up.
No,
but
close enough.
sorry. But people and they're like, well, why are you angry at me? Why are you throwing attitude at me? I'm not. Mm-hmm. It was a text. Like, you don't know how I am being behind the phone. I could be so nice behind the phone, but I could be so angry at the same time.
Right. There's zero emotion coming to you.
Exactly. And people are like, well, I can read how texts are. I can read how... You really can't, though.
The fuck you can.
You really can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. A lot of the times, like, the letter K, when somebody just says K...
Well, it's usually intentional, yeah.
But that doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay.
And that bothers a lot of people. I'm just like, well, I just say K. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, K. Like, okay, like, I understand. I just, like, didn't want to type out the whole thing right then and there. I was just sending a simple thing so you understand that I understand in a way. But
that's such a fucking... I've had to adapt to that, growing up without cell phones. Mm-hmm. And then finally learning how to interpret my own goddamn feelings. And then I got to put them in fucking text. My biggest problem is that I text the way I talk.
Yep.
Which also gets misinterpreted fucking heavily. God damn. So 90% of the time when people bring shit up through text, I've tried this, and I will be honest, last year, I think attempting this burned probably like 4 or 5 bridges in my life. But shit would come through text, and I can see that it's going south. Mm-hmm. And because I know what I'm going to do, and I know what I'm going to say in text, I will usually say, I don't want to have this conversation with you through text.
Yeah.
I've tried to end it so many fucking times, and people are just, no, fuck that. We're going to continue. You don't get to say that, and then fucking,
yeah,
I'm like, we don't need to have this conversation through text. Like, I say it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm just like, go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'll give you the shovel.
Yeah.
You dig a hole. Go ahead.
Dig your own grave, basically.
I don't, it's not that I give up, but I'm like, I don't have it. If you're going to just keep escalating this, I don't have time for it.
Yeah. And I'm the type of person though that sits there and like somebody sends me like text like that. And if I know that they're mad at me already or this and that, I just sit there and I'm just like, okay, but then I get frustrated and then I do text back. Yeah. Like, I get upset. But most of the time, like, if somebody sends me long things, I'd rather pick up like, if I'm going at issues, like, if I was in a relationship or something like that, if I'm having issues and they're texting me things like that, I'm just like, can she just call me? Right. Most of the time, I just sit there and I'll call them. I'm just like, I don't want to have this conversation over text. I can't hear your voice. I don't know what, I don't know any of that. And that's something that also bothers me. It's just like, because I don't know if you're mad at me. And sometimes I'm just like, they're like, no, I'm not mad at you. And I'm like, oh, well, it just, I don't know.
Well, the other part of that too is, because I push for people to either call or meet up, which also gets misinterpreted. I'm trying to fucking fight you. I'm just trying to get this shit done.
Yes.
But, it forces people to dial it back a little bit because all of a sudden Mr. Tough Guy is put away because they can't just text it.
Yep.
So now they're going to be like, well, I'm not mad. I'm just, You know, it's all the stuff that they need to be saying. It's not the shit that they need to be sending through text.
Yep.
And it's connected. You're connected to that person in that moment, which is the way it should fucking be.
I mean, I'd rather hear in person. It'd be better face to face, but
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. And I also have a big thing of like coming back to conversations when I have calmed down. Like if I get a text that's like nasty or whatever, like I'll ignore it. I will ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you say something I don't like through text, I'm gonna ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really good on leaving people on read or delivered with things like that. If I don't want to talk to you, I don't have to. If you call me, I'll probably pick up though,
Mm-hmm.
because then I'm like, okay, you want to actually talk, then I'll talk to you. But I'd rather sit there and have it in face to face, so I can see your facial expressions, number one, and see how you actually feel.
Mm-hmm. This is a difficult way to approach things. I agree with you, and I've been doing that myself, especially in personal relationships.
Yeah.
I try to, as soon as I acknowledge that it's going south, I'll be like, I need to walk away.
Yep. And then you'd be like, I
go.
still love you. I still want to
Yeah.
talk, have this conversation, or whatever. I just can't have it right in this moment, or else I'm going to
Well,
explode.
and I even do it with close friends of mine.
Yeah.
I need to walk away, and most of them, luckily, have a handle on. We'll revisit this,
Yeah.
and they're like, cool. But there's the big thing that people don't like to do is have patience.
No. Because
You
they
know?
want to right then and there. They
Sup-
want it on their time, too.
Super guilty of this, by the way. Super guilty of this. It's taken a lot of years for me to teach myself to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm no fucking angel.
It's one thing I'm most of the time. Sometimes I'm impatient, but most of the time I'm pretty patient with things.
It's a blessing, believe me, because there's been times that I've burnt a lot of bridges by just being
I
impatient.
feel like if I wasn't patient, I would be freaking, I don't know, car going downhill with no brakes.
Fuck.
People would not like me.
I have so many mixed emotions about that last statement. People will not like me. I just kind of grew to accept that.
People not liking you.
Yeah. Because of the way I handle things.
Mm-hmm.
I myself feel, and I have for a while felt like I handle things pretty uniquely.
Very calm. From what I have seen, when you have gotten frustrated or things like that, you'll either walk away or you'll become quiet.
Yeah, quiet's a good one. That makes people uncomfy.
Mm-hmm. It does, because I do it too.
It makes people really uncomfy. They're like, what's wrong?
What are you thinking about? What,
Nothing.
you're gonna talk to me? What is it?
Mm-mm.
You're just like, no.
Nope, give it a minute. It's taken a lot of training because I kind of, just like you, didn't really have any kind of guidance to know how to mitigate my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of thrown to the wolves,
Yeah.
so to speak. So to figure out how to understand what I'm feeling and how to handle them more so, because I've made a lot of what would look like really poor choices from the outside, all because of not understanding how to deal with my situations.
Yeah.
So
And you put that, yeah. I actually got into a conversation about that a little bit over past Christmas. About you not really, like, poor choices and you not realizing it. And then somebody brings it back up and you're like, oh.
yeah,
Like, many years later or whatever. And you're
yeah.
I didn't realize that's what I did or how I acted, And then, you feel guilty about it and things like that.
Yeah, I spent, I know we kind of fucking went off the rails here. That's okay, though. I spent, like, my whole 20s, I reflect. Oh, thank you. Everything decided to tell me that Moose shared a reel. Perfect. Thanks, Moose.
Thank you.
Thank you. I spent, like, what feels like my entire 20s. In my head, looking back now, it feels like nothing. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I know that I spent a lot of time doing a lot of dumb shit. And I know that I spent a lot of time just kind of going with it to try and figure shit out.
Existing.
Yeah.
You just felt like you were existing at that point.
And not really knowing the full impact of all my choices. So, yep. It's a little different. I don't know where we're going with that, but
I mean, that happens.
that's how it felt. And I have a lot of, I'm not going to use the word repercussions, but there is definitely, I'm going to say was, because as of lately things seem to be on a different scale, but there was a pretty solid image of who I was that everybody else saw. And in my eyes, it wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
But I think I'm on the process of mending that. And it only took me 15 years, whatever.
I feel like, I don't know. I view myself differently than everybody else views me. And I know that because a lot of people are like, oh, Jessica, this and that. Like, I'm like, well, you guys see that. But me, myself, and I also don't see that.
Being self-aware is going to be a handy fucking tool. And every time I talk to you, I'm more and more grateful that you have the opportunity to see who you are and the things that you're doing as early as you do.
Yeah.
And I know that's as a result of everything that happened to you.
Well, I used to get told, like, I know, you have this to work on. I know I do.
Yeah.
I'm slowly working on it.
That's never going to change.
And people are like, well, this is what's wrong with you. That's what's wrong with you. And I'm like, I already know.
Yeah.
Like, I personally know what's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more wrong with me than anybody else knows, too. And that's another thing is people are like, well, I see this, this, and this. I know I need to work on those things. It's not like I haven't been told before. It's not like I don't see it in myself. And that's another thing. People just jump out on you like that. And you're just like, I know. Like, I know what I need to work on. I'm trying to fix it. Personally, that's how I am. I know what I need to, for the most part. There's probably some things that I haven't figured out yet. You know, just.
Sure, there's always going to be, though.
Yeah. But I know a lot of things about myself that I need to also. I'm trying to change and I'm trying to be better for myself. It's not trying to be better for anybody else. It's for myself.
You have people that are bold enough to tell you what's quote unquote wrong with you.
Oh yeah, a lot of people do, and I don't. It's not that
That seems kind of fucking shitty to me.
It is kind of shitty that people are like that to me, and have quite a few people in my life that are like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is what's wrong with you. Well, you do this. Well, you do that. I know. Mm-hmm. And it's just like it kind of bothers me that a lot of people do that to me. I'm just like, I know what I need to work on. I know that's how I am. Like,
yeah, that's kind of fucking shitty. And I'm not saying you should make any choices based off my opinion, but
yeah,
I feel like that's kind of one of the things that I learned the hard way, just like you, is I used to give people in my eyes, I used to give people the respect of letting them say whatever they wanted to say to me,
mm-hmm.
and just kind of dealing with it.
That's what I do all the time.
Right.
I sit there and I deal with it. I'm like, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm just like, okay, whatever. You said what you said. It's going to stick with me.
When I started realizing, like, if I fucking explain myself and I let people do this shit to me, then they think I'm weak. That's got to be it. If people think that they can really say this shit to other people and then just walk away from it like there's no repercussions for you being an asshole, then we're going to figure out how to change it.
And yeah, I've been slowly working on that because I do let a lot of people talk down on me and say things about me, especially to my face or behind my back. And then when I do call them out on it, they're like, oh, well, you already knew that I know that about you or I said that about you. I'm just like, that doesn't matter.
Doesn't mean it didn't suck.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that it didn't bother me. Like,
this is a fine line. This is a defining moment in how you develop your personality from here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of people take that shit and use it as fuel to be an asshole on purpose, you know, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I know I'm an asshole a lot of the time, but you kind of just have to gently let people know, I hear you, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And then walk away because you deserve more respect than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People standing on your chest like that and that's where they're going to define who they are in your life. Are they going to be an anchor or are they going to fucking push you forward?
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to be real fun for you to make those choices.
Yeah.
And I hope you do because nobody deserves to be talked down on like that.
Yeah. And that's something that I really struggle with, and a lot of people know that. Like, a lot of people can see that. It's not that they know, but they can see me take a lot of stuff because I don't want to be mean. It's not that I can be mean. Trust me, I can be mean. I can put my foot down. But when I put my foot down, that means I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
That means I've had enough of somebody acting like that towards me or treating me like that. And I'm just like, I can't do it anymore.
I don't think that I've even come close to dabbling in any situation where you've had to play nice.
No.
But I can see for you as a person how you would. And actually, if I'm being completely honest with you, I've seen how you do it because we have a lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
And it's just, like I said, you playing nice. And they should, if anybody's fucking listening to this, then just, one of the things that happens when you get older is you can start seeing through people's bullshit. So, you know who you are, and I can see it.
Yeah.
So, it sucks. It sucks to see, but it's something that you have to figure out how to deal with on your own.
Yeah.
And everybody does, you know. You have to figure out, like I said, who's going to be an anchor in your life.
And I'm blind for a while with people because I just don't see through people immediately.
Right.
I kind of have to play like, I don't know. To me, in a way, it's kind of like a game now because I'm like, okay, what kind of person are you going to be down the road in 6 months?
Right.
Who are you truly are? Because you don't really know anybody. And people can fake it they can't fake it forever, but they have only, you know what I mean? Like, nobody can actually fake anything forever.
Right.
It eventually catches up with you, and they're like, oh, that's who you are? Okay.
I really hate that what you're saying is so accurate, and it's so irritating because there's certain people in my life that I've had in my life for 10 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just only recently that I've been able to tell somebody in my position, hey, you're being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And everything's still okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're finally on terms where we can say what we need to say because I know who they are and they know who I am.
Yeah.
After this fucking long, I'm like, God damn it. Are the rest of these motherfuckers going to take that long?
Let's hope not.
I don't want to fucking wait this long for anybody else. But
Yeah. I don't know.
that game's a bit of a motherfucker.
I also don't like, I'm like not being a fan of people who are, I don't, like, going back on empathy. I can't even freaking say it right now. Empathetic. There we go. I'm not that type of, I can be empathetic towards people.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, like, but if you're trying to get me to feel empathetic for you, I'm not going to.
Oh, definitely feel that.
I'm just like, no, you can, like, basically fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, and I had somebody try to do that to me the other day. I'm like, I'm not feeling guilty for something. Like, I'm not. Like, I don't care anymore.
That goes back to your original fucking statement was if somebody's trying to help themselves and they're actively trying to help themselves by reaching out and by being productive and whatever that needs to be fixed, then yeah, I'll feel.
Yeah.
And I'm here to help. But if you're just going to play pity party,
yep.
fucking not about it, dude. You're barking up the wrong
I'm
fucking
about to be
tree.
deleting.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to delete most of my social media just because of people trying to throw themselves pity parties because they don't get what they want. They don't get this, you know, they feel guilty for them. They're like trying to get people to feel bad for themselves and this and that. I can't do it anymore.
Anything that you want is worth working for. And you're the only motherfucker that can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't fucking come to me for pity because I ain't going to give it to you.
No, and that's another thing is like I just genuinely don't feel bad. Like, and I don't want empathy for the things that I go through. Like, why would I, you know, I mean, I'll give it back to you, but I don't give it back to the people who don't deserve it in a way, who throw themselves pity parties. I'm just like, sucks. Sorry.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, you know, or I've been in your shoes. It sucks.
I usually feel those out. Like I said in the beginning, I'll offer, you know, what I can. And if you don't want to help yourself, then...
If you don't want to take it, then...
I'm fucking not stringing you along.
Yeah.
So...
There's been a lot of things that I've offered to help people, and they're like, because they're like, I don't know, they say something about it. I'm like, well, I can help you, you know, like if you need help, like I'm here, and they're like, no, it's whatever, and then they turn around and they like post about it or they do something, and I'm just like,
I just fucking tried.
I just offered,
Yeah.
like, you know, and you're still saying, oh, well, I don't have anything, this and that, I don't have anybody, I don't like, just like, I offered, you know.
You didn't get what you wanted, that's
what
happened.
Exactly. It's when they don't get what they want, and that's an issue with a lot of people nowadays. It's just like, oh, Okay, it's just because my help isn't enough. That might give you a little footstep in the door, but that's, not your full thing, but it's at least a step forward.
I'm not hugely religious these days.
Yeah.
Whole different episode. I support anybody who believes what they want to believe. I'm cool with it. But one of the things that I will say in regards to some stuff like that is when people aren't willing to open their eyes to see what they're doing and see what they're asking for, they're the only ones that can help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm getting at is if you pray for patience, you're not just going to be given patience. You're going to be opportunities. You're going to be given opportunities to be patient.
Yeah.
So you can teach yourself how to fucking do it. You're not going to
immediately get it.
Right. You're not going to immediately get it. If you pray for a new work opportunity, you're not just going to. It's not just going to fall on your fucking lap. You have to open your eyes and you have to look for that opportunity.
And it's called. It's also it's working for it. You have to work towards something. You just can't ever. I don't think anybody. A lot of people don't realize that you can't just like jump into it, but a lot of people do also realize that you can't do that.
Right.
There's but it just depends on the way that you look at it in life. But I personally don't believe that with anything that somebody does, you can't just jump into it right away.
Right.
You have to take little steps to get what you want.
And the thing about that is you quitting the first time you fail, you giving up.
What good does that do?
It's your own fucking fault now.
Yeah.
Because now you didn't learn from it. Now you're not going to try again. I don't care what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
This is how you're going to get through shit.
Yeah.
You have to fail and you have to try again. So.
And you have to get back up and do it again. And get back up and do it again.
I hope this message hits somebody who's currently not opening their fucking eyes, because that was the hardest thing to realize over the years, was that, the failure is your direction to success.
It doesn't mean that like your whole life is ending. Doesn't mean that like everything is like, falling apart. Your whole world's not falling apart. You just have to get up and try again. Even if you don't want to.
I've had so many fucking jobs. Not because I've been fired, not because I've quit, but every fucking time I've got a job and I've realized this is my ceiling. This is really, really bad formula, so I hope people don't follow this, because I had to learn myself the hard way. But every time I realized my ceiling was not where I wanted to be, I found something better and I moved on. I moved up.
I'm like that too, though.
And it's such it is a bad habit, don't get me wrong, but I can't help but be proud of myself for always wanting more.
Well, yeah.
When I realize that this is not going to take me where I want to go, then I'm going to fucking find something that's going to take me where I want to go.
Yep.
And I realized after a while that I'm the only motherfucker that's going to be able to do it for me.
Yeah. Nobody else is going to sit there and do it for you.
Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people nowadays just want to sit back and relax and watch other people do things for them. And you're just like.
Well, it's a lot easier now.
Or everything given to them. I'm just like, I've never had that though. Like I can't imagine just sitting back. Like I've been offered. I'm just like, I can't sit back there and like see that. Like I can't have somebody just like do things for me like that.
Right.
It's just, and then I become stubborn. I'm the stubborn one.
Yeah, now you're the asshole.
Yep.
No, but that's all right. That's also a whole nother episode. But
that is true.
We went on a few good tangents. Is there anything else you want to add before we close out? No. I'm good. You don't have anything that sticks out? Any scriptures maybe that you've been holding on to?
Well, just the one in the beginning that I said. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. What's not okay is to pretend that you're okay. That's not one that I've been really big about recently. So
that is to be interpreted however you need it. So apply it to your own life and apply it to yourself. It is okay to not be okay, and to move forward from that, whatever that means to you.
Yes.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
So, well, as I always say, like, follow, subscribe, please. Continue to subscribe on Spotify for your double dose every week of new episodes. We're going to continue to push harder and grow bigger here. Things are going to continue to change and get better, so stay on the lookout for those. Couple big stories coming this year, hopefully, and hopefully that'll really lead to some other really big stuff. I'm excited to see. the holidays are over, so it's time to put your nose back in the grind and get back to it.
Woohoo!
Woo! But as always, we love you.